Strength is one of the easiest identities to build. The strong one, the calm one, the reliable one, the one who doesn't break, the one who holds it together. And for many people listening to this season, you've been that person. In your family, in your work, in your relationships, in your inner life, you became strong because you had to, because instability was around you, because someone needed to step up, because collapsing wasn't an option. But somewhere along the way, strength stopped being natural and started being performance. And performance is heavy. Season 10 is about participating without becoming. So what happens when strength is no longer identity? What happens when you don't need to be the strong one anymore? Let's start with something uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't rest because you don't want people to see you tired. Sometimes you don't admit confusion because you don't want to look uncertain. Sometimes you don't share fear because you don't want to look weak. That's performance-based strength. It says, if I drop this role, everything falls apart. If I soften, I'll lose respect. If I admit struggle, I won't be seen the same. So you hold, you endure, you maintain posture. But inside, there's tension. Because performance requires constant monitoring. Natural strength does not. There's a difference between resilience and suppression. Resilience bends and returns. Suppression holds and hardens. If your strength feels rigid, brittle, or isolating, identity is involved. If your strength feels steady, adaptive, and grounded, a participation is involved. Performance-based strength constantly scans. Am I handling this well? Am I showing too much? Am I appearing weak? Participation-based strength asks, what's required right now? That's it. No image management, no persona, just response. Let's bring this into family life. You're under pressure, bills, responsibilities, emotional tension. If your identity is the stable one, you may refuse to show strain. You may think, they need me solid. So you hide exhaustion, you suppress overwhelm, you carry silently. But here's the paradox. Sometimes strength is letting others see your humanity, not collapsing, not dumping, but saying, I'm stretched right now. That doesn't remove authority, it humanizes it. And people trust human strength more than invincible posture. In relationships, performance strength often looks like emotional distance. You don't share vulnerability. You stay composed. You don't ask for support because you're the steady one. But steady does not mean silent. Participation-based strength allows you to say, I need help. I don't have clarity yet. I'm working through something, without identity damage. Because strength is no longer tied to invulnerability. It's tied to steadiness. And steadiness can include softness. Let's talk about masculinity and femininity for a moment. Culturally, strength is often defined narrowly. Men are told strength means stoicism, dominance, suppression. Women are often told strength must still feel nurturing, accommodating, or non-threatening. Both are distortions when identity attaches. True strength isn't loud. It isn't aggressive. It isn't silent. It isn't rigid. It's adaptable. It's emotionally regulated. It's clear. It doesn't need to prove itself. Performance strength proves. Natural strength responds. In work, this shows up constantly. You make decisions confidently, even when uncertain. You avoid asking questions to protect image. You resist delegation because you must appear capable. That's identity. Participation-based strength asks for clarity when needed, delegates when appropriate, admits gaps, adjusts without collapse, because it doesn't need to look invincible. It needs to function effectively. There's a nervous system layer here too. Performance strength keeps your body slightly braced, shoulders tight, jaw set, breath shallow, always ready. Natural strength relaxes between demands. It activates when needed. It rests when not. It doesn't live in constant readiness. If you don't know how to soften without feeling unsafe, you may have built identity around vigilance. That's understandable, but it's not sustainable. Here's something subtle. When you define yourself as strong, you may attract dynamics that reinforce it. People lean on you, they defer to you, they expect you to handle things. And because that role feels familiar, you accept it. But sometimes you unconsciously avoid being supported, because being supported threatens the identity of being the strong one. Participation allows fluidity. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you lean, sometimes you hold, sometimes you are held. No fixed role, no rigid posture, just response. Strength that isn't performance also means you don't escalate to appear dominant. You don't speak louder to win. You don't overwork to prove worth. You don't dismiss emotion to look composed. You don't compete in suffering. You stay grounded. You let others have their reactions. You remain steady. Steady does not need applause. Let's connect this to discipline. Performance-based discipline says, I never miss. I never slow. I don't break. Participation-based discipline says, I stay consistent. But I'm human. There's power in being reliable without being robotic. There's strength in being firm without being brittle. Here's the real test. When something goes wrong, unexpectedly wrong, how do you respond? Do you tighten instantly? Do you suppress emotion? Do you feel embarrassed by reaction? Or can you allow a moment of human response and then stabilize? Strength isn't absence of emotion. It's the capacity to feel without being consumed. Performance strength hides emotion. Real strength integrates it. Season 10 keeps returning to this pattern. Care without carrying. Conflict without identity. Building without becoming. Authority without armor. Discipline without self-punishment. Speaking without defending. Love without ownership. Moving forward without narrative. Now strength without performance. No image to maintain. No posture to protect. No identity to reinforce. Just steady participation in life. Here's your challenge this week. Notice one place where you perform strength, where you tighten unnecessarily, where you suppress something to look stable. Experiment with small honesty, small softness, not dramatic vulnerability, just clean truth. And notice what happens. Does the world collapse? Or does connection deepen? Does respect disappear? Or does trust increase? Strength that doesn't need to perform is magnetic, because it feels safe, feels real, feels grounded. There's something deeply freeing about no longer needing to be the strong one. You can still be strong, but you're not holding a role. You're participating, sometimes firm, sometimes soft, sometimes leading, sometimes leaning, always steady. Next episode, we'll explore rest that doesn't collapse. Because when performance drops, exhaustion can surface. And learning to rest without losing structure is part of mature strength. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who carries the weight quietly. And if you're ready to embody strength without armor or performance, stay here. Season 10 continues.